Hello Leo, this is Victoria and I'm here with your October tarot forecast. As always, we'll be looking at your love life, your career and workspace, and we'll get some guidance from the universe on how to best navigate the energies of the month of October. At the end, I'll post some messages from your person of interest to yourself, so make sure you stick around for that. And as you know, I like to also do a little oracle message from an oracle card deck. And this time is going to be the Ancestors and Angels deck. Very powerful time for that, for exploring the topic of lineage and connection to ancestors in the month of October. So I decided that this is the most fitting deck for us to work with. And without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Just a reminder that in the description box there's a bunch of information about my content and services. Donations are highly appreciated. Your likes, shares, and comments are also very useful for me to continue doing these readings and make them available for free. Of course, if you're new, please subscribe to the channel. And yeah, take what resonates for you guys and leave what doesn't. This reading is for Sun, Moon, and Rising Leo. All right, with all that said, let's see what kind of message we have for Leo this month. Wow, we've got a lady. Enjoy growth and reap rewards. Wow. I mean, to me, this is definitely connected to the Empress energy. Immediately, I'm thinking about having that potency, bringing that inspiration to the table, that creativity, that innovation, the moment of birth and growth. But I also like that they talk about reaping rewards here. We're not necessarily always talking about that when we see the Empress card, but here is definitely like acknowledge how far you've come, how much you've worked on this harvest, how much of your love, your time, your energy you've put into making the fruit grow, blossom and be able to gather the harvest, right? So it's time to also enjoy, right? It's like, no all work and no play kind of a vibe, right? Like you need to remember to also celebrate what you've done, whether it's a little bit more professional side, your career space, or it's something personal, whether it's your hobby or I don't know, the friendships that you cherish, maybe the travel that you've done, just because, not for some specific reason, it could be anything. So let's see what you're going to be celebrating. Let's get some more information with tarot now. Oftentimes we downplay our successes because we have, I'll have to pick it up, either because we set the standard too high for ourselves based on some kind of a role model that we see, or of course sometimes it's because that's what we are used to based on how we were growing up and how we were or weren't encouraged by adults that were important to us. And first and foremost is parents, but it's also teachers. It could be other important parents in your life. All right, let's see. See what we have for you here. So for your personal and love space, 9 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, and 8 of Swords. Okay. I'll speak about that when I finish laying out the spread. Then for your career space, you have the Devil. This is Capricorn energy, could be dealing with one. Then you have the Knight of Pentacles. And you have 6 of Cups. And finally, I already referenced the childhood stuff that I was just talking about, but yeah, we'll get to it. For the advice, we see 10 of Cups. Yep, that's that celebration and, joy of the life that you've built. The Hangman, this is Sagittarius energy, and 3 of Wands. Bottom of the deck, the High Priestess. Look at that. It's very important to look into your connection with your higher power, with the universe, whatever your belief system is on that topic, you know. But sometimes it's good to remind ourselves that there's also the force greater than ourselves that's a big part of the process. So, and it, on at the same time, on the one hand, it kind of like takes the pressure off, because it's like, well, you know, no matter how perfect you feel like you are for a specific goal, it's not just about you, right? There are other factors, and there is this force. On the other hand, of course, there's like there's a topic of certain accountability of how you build that relationship, right? What is it like for you? Are you even building it at all, right? Or you don't really think about it. And I'm not even talking about religion. To me, this is somewhat different. For some people, it will coincide with religion, but it really doesn't have to. Yeah, like what I see in the cards already, like as a general pattern, is that you want things to be a certain way or in a certain schedule. And there is some kind of anxiety if they're not happening the way that you expected, or, you know, based on your belief system. But the truth is that a lot of times we are shown these experiences that are outside of our comfort zone or our worldview of how we feel things work in the world, specifically to help us get away from the unnecessary prejudice, unnecessary assumption, and, you know, judgment that is gonna create more blocks and restrictions that help you succeed in life. Our brain likes to think like, you know, I've got all this information, like the more I clarify for myself and structure it, the better my chances are to succeed. But on a higher consciousness level, we understand that, you know, that higher power stuff that I was just talking about, that's in the way, that's in play. And also, of course, there are, like, I feel like one of the biggest sources of issues that people have in their communication is making assumptions, right? Feeling like just because you know some information about the person, you know everything, right? Like this is clear to me, like what that person is like. Sometimes people judge, well, actually they always judge just by looking at you, like, you know, what you're wearing, maybe the way you walk, the way you talk, and they can already decide that they've got you figured out. Okay, with all that said, I'm not saying there is no good information there. Of course there is. But more than anything, it's important to also have that doubt and ask questions, right? Be curious rather than try to be confident that you know it all. And so, speaking of love life and personal space, there is a relationship where, well, first of all, Nine of Pentacles is a singlehood card. I don't know if you're single or not, but at this time of your life, it's important to acknowledge and celebrate yourself as an individual. We just had full moon in Aries, and Aries is about me, myself, and I, and we had those themes raised for us. Once again, reminders for us that, you know, we matter and we are whole personalities, you know, as an individual. We don't need somebody else to feel complete and to tell us that we are worthy, or, you know, to be happy, right? Like that's already a pattern of codependency of some sort. There's a celebration of who you are, not necessarily needing a partner to complete you, but also rejoicing in the companionship of, could be one person, could be several people. For some of you, I've actually heard when I laid those cards out that there may be a possibility of you going from being friends with someone to the romantic relationship, and that's creating a lot of inner conflict, right? Like the scenario where maybe you don't want to lose that person, right? You're like, okay, we're great as friends, I'm not sure how this is gonna go romantically, right? But there is attraction, and it feels like you know, it's moving that way anyway. And maybe you're still, for some of you, you're still contemplating, do I want to go that way? Do I want to make that choice, make the change in our dynamic, or not yet, right? Like all these themes are coming up for you. And I would say, don't, like it, if it feels rushed, if you feel anxious about it, then don't push it, don't rush it. And if anything, if you are very comfortable with this person, hopefully you are if you're friends, then that's something that you can also talk to them about, right? That you have feelings, you have an attraction, right? But I know that's a very big topic. I'm like, yeah, just talk to them. It's like, wow, it's not that simple. I get it, right? But at least you can start putting the feelers out and seeing how they feel, and there's a good chance you can start building that intimacy gradually. I feel like that art of courtship has almost died out by now, where, all the pretty much all the relationships, romantic relationships tend to like gravitate towards physical intimacy as soon as possible. Like that's the tell, are we a good couple? Do we align? Are we compatible? Like that, we need to get into bed and figure it out then, right? Then we'll know. But there's so much more beauty to getting to know each other as friends. And nobody says that you can spend more time as friends, or you can, essentially create those situations where you would like to get more information on how this person feels or sees the world, how they see their future, if you don't know that for some reason, right? Like that could already give you additional information. And more than anything, keep like checking yourself whether it's a physical attraction or it's a lot more than that, right? That is a good tell of how you move with this. For your career space, yeah, there's definitely an urge, a temptation to move as quickly as possible, or there's somebody who is pushing you to move as quickly as possible. It's like, yeah, while we have a momentum and talking to these people, it's not really the point, I would say, right? The point is that there's like this beauty of creation, again, going into this lady card, that if you rush it or you like outsource it, you won't be able to get it. Like it's not going to be the same. And there's something here about your childhood that's taking you back, where maybe you were rushed as a child and you missed out on some experiences, right? Or maybe it's like that childlike wonder that is needed right now, that will ignite you more than anything else can. No matter, what kind of resources you have, people on your team, whatever. Like this is something that you can't buy, you can't pretend like it's there if it's not, right? And right now there is an opportunity to go to that space where it's gonna be like childlike wonder and curiosity and discovery, and it has a value of its own, even if you can't see it on paper with numbers yet. It will be, because the energy, the vibration of this project, of how you approach it, what you bring to the table, is going to be different. And then finally, for the advice, we have 10 of Cups, the Hangman, and 3 of Wands. There's a lot here about dreaming and about stepping, I don't even want to say outside of your comfort zone. It's not about the comfort zone. It's more like we have a certain worldview, right? Certain frame of reference, certain frame, right? It's going outside the frame. It's extending your dreams to something that, and it's not an easy thing to do either, by the way. You may want to check up some techniques online where you can do more of a brainstorming, right? Or you can do some like automated writing of what is it that you want, what are your dreams, what are the wishes, like in the ideal world, what would that be like? Because again, our brain kind of like drills it down to the detail and like realistic stuff so much that we stop dreaming at a certain point. And it's very important to get yourself into that vibe of what this highest emotional fulfillment would be like. In Maslow's terms, what would that self-actualization be like? Right? What would give you that thrill and bliss and biggest joy? And set some intentions in that direction. We also will have a new moon coming up in a couple of weeks, and so you can figure this out by that time and then use that momentum of the new moon. And I will be doing reading about that, so if you're subscribed, you won't miss it. You'll know when it's happening. You'll get an additional message for yourself for that new moon specifically. But you'll be ready, you'll have that clarity of what is it that I want to create. And finally, we'll get some messages for Leo from their person of interest. We've got the King of Wands, I like this, clarified by 7 of Wands, and the Sun. Wow, your person wants to protect you from anything and everything. And I mean, it has like noble intentions in terms of like protect you from any hardship, any pain and suffering, anything like that. But it does go into like basically make you as happy as possible, because you make them very happy. But it can go into that shadowy vibe where they're like, yeah, and I'm gonna protect you from everything in your life. You're like, whoa, but that, like, what does that mean? Am I not allowed to have experiences in my life that bring me, joy and happiness? Am I not allowed to like have fun and kind of like maybe take some risks because it feels like I feel the thrill and it feels great to try it out. So I would say be careful with that, but right now it's more of a like kind of like rosy glasses kind of vibe, like because your person is head over heels in love, or at least like they have this great attraction towards you, then that's the instinct that they have. And yeah, this can go overboard where they may start asking extra questions and maybe being a little more controlling in what you do or who you spend time with. But this is also for you then to witness, to acknowledge, and to address with them, to keep your boundaries. So that Nine of Pentacles in the personal space is going to be very important. So there's a good chance that this is coming up. And a lot of times we struggle with doing it if we see that the person is doing it with out of love, with great intentions. You're like, well, I mean, this is so sweet. I mean, I just can't, like what am I supposed to say here? Of course, I love it, I appreciate it, I honor it, whatever. But the earlier you start these conversations, the easier it's going to be. And there's a good chance that your person also is like testing waters and this is new to them. And once you tell them what works for you and what doesn't, what brings you joy and happiness, and they also understand where they feel like there is that connection and security between the two of you, you can find that common ground and stay with it. So it's not like anyone's making sacrifices for the sake of this relationship. Okay, I hope this was useful to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel, and until next time, bye.